The Nintendo Wii, also known as the original vertical console. Like, it's cool that the PS5 stands up and is white with blue lights, but you know what else was white with blue lights and a vertical gaming console? The Nintendo Wii, and it came out in like 2006. They originally called it the Wii because it was a thing that we can play together, as in people in real life, local multiplayer with Wii Sports, which is I think one of their highest selling games. Not only was it a game you could play with your grandparents, it was a game you could play with 7-year-olds, because all you do is flip, 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 flap, and then tennis. It's magic. But I think they could have easily just called it the Nintendo. I need to go practice these ultra shortcuts on Mario Kart because, oh my god, I spent so many hours just trying to crank that Grumble Volcano shortcut. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't worry about it. And it brought people together that probably never played video games properly before. Motion controls also made it very easy for anyone to pick up and play. Like, your parents could play it, your grandparents could play it, your cousins who are like 3 years old and won't stop crying can play it. Like, the kids that wanted the console got to play with their grandparents, got to play with their children, who are the kids that the parents of the other kids that don't really know how video games work, but they're not the grandparents, if you know what I'm saying. It was also the first motion controlled console, and probably the most successful there's going to be anytime soon. Also, the most successful motion control console, PlayStation Move, wasn't really big. Xbox Kinect, you forgot that existed, didn't you? Now, let's talk about the games. It had some really great games. It had Mario Kart Wii, had Smash Bros, had 2 great Zeldas, but it also had like just a huge catalog, so there was going to be some interesting games in there as well. But because of how big the catalog was and because it sold like 100 million units and everyone wanted a slice of the pie, there was some really weird games that I don't understand why I needed a Wii. Like, the Wii's hardware wasn't amazing, but like these games didn't need a Wii to run them. These included Cheggers Party Quiz, which is a game I actually owned. Truth or Lie. There were also some games that were really weird, but at the same time amazing, like the No More Heroes games. It was a very weird console to grow up with because your parents would just buy you the cheapest game they saw and it'd be like, oh cool, new game. And then it's a quiz. It's a quiz you could have played as a flash game and it was cheap. So your dad bought it for you one day as a surprise. Also, the Nintendo Wii was one of my first video game experiences. Like, prior to the Wii, I owned a Game Boy and a PlayStation 2. But I owned like 3 PlayStation 2 games, I think, maybe 5, I can't count. And I played Mario Land 2 and Tetris on the Game Boy, so I was like, it's pretty cool. So the concept of Wii Sports was just mind-blowing. Like, I can move my hand, and then the game is controlled like that. It was insane. It doesn't make sense in my head still. Also, this is the Christmas week video because Christmas is this week. I got my Nintendo Wii when I was a child during Christmas. It was really exciting. I think I got Lego Harry Potter, Wii Sports, and Mario Kart as my first 3 games. And then I remember later on at some point, I got Toy Story 3, the game for the Wii, because I watched the movie and I was like, oh, this is really cool. I can play the movie as the game. The Wii is so cool. Motion controls, they were good to get people into the Wii. But oh my god, were there some amazing games that utilized motion controls. Wii Sports Resort, it's a bit basic, but like, that game was amazing. Mario Kart, all it was a steering wheel, but as a child, you used nothing but that steering wheel. Later on, when I started to emulate, we'll get onto that, I used nunchucks and a classic controller, I think. But as a child, just on Mario Kart, best feeling ever. My top 5 Wii games are probably Mario Kart, Smash Bros. Brawl. The amount of hours I put into Smash Bros. Brawl, it hurts. It's a lot of hours. I don't know how to quantify. I used to just play with my friends and then lose to Falco, because Falco was if you played Falco, if you played Meta Knight in Brawl, you're sweat. Stop sweating. Then we got Mario Galaxy 1, Mario Galaxy 2. It had the Mario sports games, not in my top 5, but just thought they'd mention. I thought I'd just mention them. And my favorite game of all time came out in 2011 when I was a child, but I still love it. Play it pretty much every year. The Legend of Zelda Skyward Sword. Nintendo, please make a HD version of that. I will buy it. Can you please make a Skyward Sword HD? I want it, please. Thanks. Used motion controls. It made you feel like you had a real sword. Also, I wish they had a left-handed mode on that, because I was swinging my sword but with wrong hand, and then I had to use the thumbstick to control my Link guy. So if Skyward Sword HD ever decides to roll through, you know, Nintendo, you could like put in a left-handed mode. That'd be pretty cool of you. Pretty cool. I'd appreciate it personally. It was also backwards compatible with the GameCube. Like you could just plop in a GameCube disc and it would work. Unlike some newer consoles that don't even work with the last generation that use the same type of discs. Xbox Series X. Sorry, I don't know how that happened. Also, when the Wii was around, there was this thing called Love Film, so you didn't have to buy every game. It was like a Netflix subscription series, like a video game library type thing. You would go onto the website, book to borrow a game, and then it would get sent to you. It was like mind-blowing that you could just, instead of buying a game, rent it, and then return it when you're done playing it. You didn't have to pay. You did have to pay. You didn't have to pay to keep it. I mean, if you wanted to keep it, you would have had to basically buy the game. You didn't have to pay to try out new games. Well, you did have to pay. What I'm trying to say is, back when the Wii was at its peak, it was the most fun I've had with a console, and I don't think I'm going to have that much fun with video games in a very long time. That's why, even now, I just emulate Wii games. I emulate so many Wii games, it's insane. Wii games are the reason I got into emulation, which is the reason I emulate PS3 games, which is the reason now I own a PC. So, if it wasn't for the Nintendo Wii, I wouldn't have a computer, and I couldn't emulate games, and then I couldn't make videos, and you wouldn't be watching this. Anyway, I think that's a good place to wrap this up. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you had a good time. Okay, bye now.